Welcome to Tennessee Harmony. I'm Jason Whitlock, your host, joined in my home by Kevin Donahue, TJ Moe, Pastor Anthony Walker. Gentlemen, today I want to discuss Elon Musk and Ashley Sinclair, and maybe not really them, the reaction to Elon Musk and Ashley Sinclair a week ago or several weeks ago, or at least 2 weeks ago. Ashley Sinclair took to Twitter or took to X and made this announcement. 5 months ago, I welcomed a new baby into the world. Elon Musk is the father. I have not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety, but in recent days it has become clear that tabloid media intends to do so regardless of the harm it will cause. I intend to allow our child to grow in a normal and safe environment. For that reason, I ask that the media honor our child's privacy and refrain from invasive reporting. So this comes out, kicks up a lot of noise, obviously, on social media. This is Elon's 13th child. He has 4 baby mamas. Those of us in the conservative influencer space had heard about this pregnancy 6, 8 months, maybe a year earlier. This was rumored to have taken place. And many people, conservatives, rushed to tweet out, post congratulations to Ashley Sinclair and Elon Musk. And some people were like, hey, they're having a baby out of wedlock. This dude's got 4 baby mamas. This is his 13th kid. Should we be rushing out to congratulate them? I hate to say that because I don't know how you congratulate the child. The child's 5 or 6 months old, has no idea what's going on. But was it inappropriate? We can just start there. Was it inappropriate for people to rush out and congratulate Ashley Sinclair and Elon Musk?
We live in a strange world, right? Some comedian the other day I heard talk about how selfish social media is, right? It's like you wishing your kid a happy birthday on Facebook or Twitter. It's like, why don't you just go tell your kid happy birthday? You're not telling your kid happy birthday. You're telling me happy birthday, right? Yeah. You're telling me happy birthday to your kid. We don't want to see it, right? And it was funny to think about that. So same thing here. Here we are. Like someone could just call them and say, hey man, congrats on your baby, or write a letter or send a note or a gift, hey, congrats on your baby.
Email.
But instead, email, whatever it may be. 50 years ago, that's what you would have done. Now, it's like you're almost looking for cred, street cred. Hey, congratulations, Elon, right? And now you have it. Now it's in stone, right? Because the internet's forever. It's like, oh, see, I said this to Elon Musk. I see the same thing too when someone passes away and they have a picture with the person. They're like, oh, rest in peace, this person. All you're doing is like looking for credibility or taking advantage of this instant fame because the person's dead. So I would just say it's an awkward thing, but it's become normalized. Like social media is like, that's where we live our lives. So instead of picking up the phone, because they don't know Elon. They don't know this gal, probably, right?
Not in a real way. No.
Right, not in a real way.
Yeah.
So it's just looking for some sort of credibility or some sort of beef or something so that it can be discussed. So I don't know. It's a funny thing. Is it wrong or right? Listen, they brought a child into the world. That's always a beautiful thing. Having 4 different wives and all these kids out of wedlock, I don't understand it. But I've only been married once, and I've never been a billionaire, so it's hard for me to understand. So it's a strange conversation, I would say.
God had a design for the family. You've got the quote, Jason. What did she say? Because I don't want to misquote her. What did she say? I want my child to have a normal something to that.
I intend to allow our child to grow in a normal and safe environment.
That's it. Normal, you bypass that.
Yep.
When you engaged in relations with Elon Musk, like without marriage. God had a design for the family. And when I look at this, when I use that word design, it's intentional. God designed the world, and he has intention on how it is to function, how it is to be. The family, entry into his creation. Now, God could have had us lay eggs, literally. He made it. But his design and his will says, no, I want new birth into my creation. As far as humans are concerned, I want them to come in the package of a marriage. That's his design. Now, what do we do with design? I can take a knife that's meant for slicing and I can cut somebody with it, right? That's not the designer's intent. That was my intent. But if I really want to know what this knife is supposed to be used for, I got to go back to the designer. So when we look at how children come into this world, God, how did you intend for this to happen? Are there children that come into this world out of wedlock? Yes. Are there children that come in, rape and all this kind of stuff? Sure it is. But let's look at God's design. My question is, what are we congratulating him for? That, like, if we really get down to it, what are we saying congratulations? I don't have, this is my own personal, subjective piece on this. I don't congratulate that. And I'm a minister of a church, and everybody in church doesn't have kids through marriage. We have people that come in, two young folk, not necessarily always young folk, but they welcome a child. We're not doing a baby shower for this. Now we love the child and we're here to help, but the whole intent behind a baby shower is, hey, we are showering you because you're welcoming this child and what that means in God's creation. But when you say, no, I'm going to do it my way outside of this, I don't want to congratulate that. So I hear Kevin's point as to this seems like kind of a grab and kind of a, hey, let's say this to Elon. And I don't want to take us too far. I want to hear what TJ says, but I'm wondering, why is Elon Musk and Nick Cannon not in the same conversation as it relates to this? There's a whole different conversation. And I'm not talking black and white. I'm just saying nothing about race. I'm just saying, why are we not like the same people who would say something about Nick Cannon would not say anything about Elon?
I don't know if that's true. I've heard a lot of people ripping on Elon.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
y'all follow it.
I've heard a lot of people ripping on Elon for this. I'll get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
I disagree with you only because of the way Ashley framed. I would agree with you if it were framed differently. Remember how she framed this. Mm-hmm. But in recent days, it's become clear that the tabloid media intends to do so. So regardless of the harm it will cause, she was announcing her baby. So she already made herself the victim. So she said, guys, come here and rescue me. So it wasn't about attention. Nobody was tweeting at Elon. Elon wouldn't even acknowledge the tweet. He was acknowledging other tweets of Milo Yiannopoulos and other people that suggest that Ashley St. Clair trapped him into having a baby. Nobody was congratulating Elon. She said, guys, I'm a woman. Come rescue me. Look, I'm being attacked. And everybody came and did that. So that's the context around this.
That's good.
It's different than just a congratulations, you're amazing type of thing. I'm with you and probably everybody else. I don't congratulate. That's including people in my own family who I'm very, very close to, who got pregnant without being married. And I said, I will be with you here every step of the way. That baby will have me in their lives forever. Congratulations never came out of my mouth. It did, though, interestingly, come out of my aunt's mouth, and it was kind of relieving to this person in my family. And so that was a bit interesting, where it's just sort of there was a discussion we had, and again, I'm not pivoting on this because I don't think it's a congratulatory moment, but there is a conversation we had where, like, this baby is seriously affected by the stress of this woman. And so this support that you're offering, I wouldn't do it in the form of a congratulations, but like the support you're offering is really, really important for this 9-month period while this woman is growing this baby. Yeah. After the fact, that's different for Ashley St. Clair. She didn't announce it until 5 months later. Ain't got nothing to do with the baby. But when you're 3 months pregnant, having some support and feeling like you're not being shamed and kicked out of the family and all that is pretty important. So there's a role to play somewhere in the middle.
That, Anthony,
you disagree?
You probably are making a great argument for the psychology of it. I'm suggesting from a biblical dynamic. I've been at 231 for 18 years. So that's a generation, basically. I've seen some kids when they were babies when I got there, et cetera. The idea in ministry is I want to teach you before you guys even get to the bedroom, the intent of what God has for your body. When we read the passage of Scripture in 1 Corinthians where Paul says that the Holy Spirit indwells in us, right? Our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit. The last part of that line is he says, you are not your own. So my body, and that's a whole discussion about my body, my choice. But my body is not mine. It's God's. I've been purchased with a price. So this idea of even how I use my body has a goal with what God has designed it for. So I'm trying to get you here, right? Teach you that. I do want you thinking about every step of the way, even in this relationship. Y'all too, teenagers or young folk or even young, because see what's happening now is you got a lot of young professionals who are saying, hey, I'm independent. She's got a good job. He's got a good job. We're fine. We just, hey, we can afford to have a baby. Well, it's not about affording.
That's right.
It's about the design that God has and what that's going to mean for this baby. So now that and I don't think she's suggesting that this was an inappropriate situation that Elon laid down with her. Like, I think they were both consenting adults in this.
No.
So this is not, when you say, hey, y'all are attacking me for this, you decided to lay down.
Well, no, she's saying the media was going to expose the fact.
You decided to lay down with
Absolutely.
Elon. So,
and not just that.
Yeah.
There's a good argument to be made that she trapped him into having this baby and that this was a plan.
Yeah, it
all
may
along.
have been.
And now give me sympathy for it. So
Yeah,
we're in agreement here.
But I mean, I'm with the whole support piece. This is where I go with the support, because we've had to walk through several young people and single young ladies who've had kids and couples, etc. I love you. I'm here for you. I don't agree with what you did, but your decision, your mistake, your misstep, that doesn't change the love that I have for you. Okay. But at the same time, the consequences that come out of that, they will far stretch beyond the support I'm going to be able to give, because I'm not going to be with you at 2:00 when this baby is crying. And I'm not going to be with you when you are struggling, because if the relationship doesn't work out and you've got this child and you're just, I got to find a way to go to work and childcare is so expensive. Like that's going to come. But Can I help? Can I be here? Yeah, but that shame that she feels, that shame, what I would desire, and that's, everybody doesn't live by my desires and don't live by God's desires. But my thing is, I want you thinking about that when y'all are not opening the condom or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wanting you to think about that shame then, because you may get made fun of at this point in time because you don't sleep around or what, you may get whatever. But man, it's going to be a completely world of difference when you are married and bring that child in. Because, Jason, I know you got to move on, but even in a married context, children are challenges. Like, walking with your wife through a pregnancy, for some women, it is a breeze. They have a kid every other year. For some, they have complications. They have all of it. Like, I couldn't imagine walking through that without the certainty that he's going to be there.
That's right.
Oh my, that's stress. That's, so.
I want to go at the Nick Cannon conversation.
Yeah.
Because I think that Nick Cannon and Elon Musk share the same mindset of, hey man, I got so much money that, I can provide for this kid. And so we've reduced providing for kids to a check or to finances. And the government has helped us do that with, the welfare system, and you don't need marriage, and, you can be independent, and we're going to provide you the financial resources so you don't need a man. And so Elon and Nick Cannon are both a reflection of that mentality and just the failure of men. Where I do see a difference between Elon and Nick Cannon is Nick Cannon, for lack of a better description, is a content creator, whether it be music, whether it be acting in movies, or whether he's creating content. Okay. And so part of his content creation is talking about himself and doing interviews where he's defended his baby mamas and all the kids. And so he kind of pushes himself into that conversation and becomes a lightning rod, whereas Elon is a bit more private. Is he doing
I don't think he's private.
He's a public figure.
No, I know he's a public figure.
He's not even private about this, guys.
But does he talk about...
He's openly... This would be his argument that I fully disagree with. This would be his argument. He is saying there's not enough humans in the world. You got all of you Bill Gates types who say there's too many humans. You should all have as many babies as possible. To hell with the rest of the problems with it. Go have kids. And he would defend this by saying, I'm pro-human. Anybody who has babies, this is a good thing. He talks about this openly and often because people ask him about it. Hey, this is your 13th kid. And he's like, I'm pro-human. And so he's all about this. This guy does
like a justification or a.
Oh, I agree. It's a bad argument, but it is actually his. He thinks, and
because he could get married to one. I know a woman that had 12 kids with her husband.
I'm trying to get there. Look, I understand. He won't do that, obviously. He's been married and divorced, I think, already. I think his, here's where his argument, there's truth behind his argument. His argument is stupid. I don't know how to say those two things together. But the truth behind his argument is that we're actually in a population collapse and we don't know it yet. And this is true. You look all the way across Europe. The only places that are above replacement level in the whole world is like India and Africa, and that's it. Everywhere else, Japan, they're in a free fall. America, if it weren't for our immigration, would be in a free fall. And so he's saying, hey, guys, listen, this world we've set up that's completely based on the next generation being bigger than the previous, that whole world is going to collapse in very short order. He's 100% right about that. His remedy is very stupid.
Is that what all these NBA players and NFL players are doing too? They're trying to repopulate? I mean, my question is this. I mean, he knows how it works, right? He knows. So it must be on purpose. Right. So what you're saying is he is getting this woman pregnant on purpose to repopulate the world, or is he just careless, or is he?
No,
does he not know how?
I don't think he's careless.
You don't think he's careless?
I don't think he's careless.
You think it's on purpose?
Intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, she was first. He owns X, and they pulled up her old tweets where she was really. I want rocket babies.
Wow.
Help me.
Yes.
Help me come up with jokes to impress Elon. I want rocket baby, and she was saying it as LOL, but obviously there's truth in it. And trust me, Elon, no different than because Elon allegedly is smart. And so no.
What do you mean allegedly? Come on, man.
I'm gonna tell you because I look at this philosophy as it relates to kids. This ain't smart.
He doesn't have wisdom, but holy cow, is he smart? The guy caught a rocket. All right.
I value wisdom more than I do.
Wisdom and
book
smarts are different.
Yeah. And so I value. So he's not very wise. And now you just man.
But even
just,
Hunter Biden. So like I think it was Candace Owens was saying this about Joe Biden is finally acknowledging the, I guess, illegitimate kid of
grandkid.
Yeah, the grandkid
of Hunter's kid. Yeah,
of Hunter's kid. Yeah. So I mean, it's like I just don't get are these people not understanding how this thing works? Like,
no, they get it. They get
it. They know how it works.
Elon is 100% saying, "Hey, look, I'm really smart. I got great genes. As many. Keep in mind, this is an atheist." Yeah. That if he believes in anything, he believes we're in a simulation. Go watch his episodes with Joe Rogan. So he's an atheist that doesn't believe in anything more than general biology. And I'm really smart. I've got good genes. I'm solving a lot of the world's problems. It sure would be good if these genes went as far as possible. So he's just planting him out there, and he's saying these women will never have the problem. He's got no biblical mindset. He doesn't understand that you have to have a marriage to actually raise good kids and to give them the proper support so they can go out. He doesn't understand any of that. He says, I got plenty of money. We're good. I'm actually doing my job. He believes that, and he actually thinks it's a good thing. This, to me, I think the Nick Cannon thing, while I haven't researched a lot, is more of a careless thing of just sleeping with whoever, get pregnant, who cares. I don't think he's saying, we're actually in population collapse. I should have all these children.
He's saying that, but he's saying, hey, man, I'm worth 30, 40 million bucks. His 30, 40 million feels the same to him as Elon's 100 billion or 200 billion.
I mean, what is it? $1 million, that's
to raise a child, $1 million.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So if you want to sleep with somebody, you already set up a trust fund for them and the child.
Now that's if you're married. It's way more expensive if you're not married.
Because
you're handing them money.
I'm saying if that's the arrangement. Knowing how Hollywood may work, you're with this lady, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. If we happen to have a child, I got a trust fund. There's, it's enough for you and the child. But again, if that's Elon's reasoning, okay, how about we set up a system where we don't abort half of our kids? I'm sure population decline is going to go down from that. And then we also continue to promote families and incentivize families. And again, if the economy were not so out of whack, if society were not so out of whack, families would say, you still have people saying, I don't know if I want to bring kids into this world for this, not understanding the biblical dynamic that God is saying, I want my children who are raised in a godly home to go out as arrows into this world for the purpose of changing it. So God has this, hey, be fruitful and multiply dynamic. Elon's looking at it from a biological place, but I'm saying if both of them are looking at it from a place that I can afford, because children are not just that kind of thing. Anybody that's raised a child understands it's not about that payment stuff. But if that's what you minimize it to, then I'm with you, Kevin. All these athletes, these, as long as I can afford to have, and so you got every city that we play in, another baby mama, I can write a check. As long as the checks are coming in, they're good. And even Cam Newton is talking about, hey, they're all taken care of, and he has some kind of arrangement where they all live. That is not a functional home. And these kids are going to grow up. They may have this intelligence that he has. They may have the money. They may have the business-minded and structure. But, man, they are missing out on what God has. He tells us in his word, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose your soul?
They're not thinking very deeply either, because y'all don't have no experience with this, but when you're he's got 4 baby mamas, Elon does, and maybe Nick Cannon has 6 or 7, who knows. But his relationships with each one of those women, I guarantee you, is different. And how you feel about that woman and your relationship and engagement with that woman will impact how you deal with that kid and how much access you have to that kid. And so now you're trying to, there's jealousy among siblings. And when they're in the same house, there's jealousy among siblings. But when they're in different homes and there's disparate treatment of them, you just accentuate all those problems. And now you got siblings that don't like each other and all of that drama. And you certainly got baby mamas that don't like each other. They're creating, it's like, oh yeah, I created a kid, but are they anxiety ridden? Are they depression ridden? Yes. Are they, again, one of the greatest, well, his kids will financially, they'll be stable, but a kid just coming into a home with their father there.
Yes, the presence.
It makes, and so, I had it to about age 4, then my parents divorced. And then I had it again at 17, 18 years old when me and my father lived together. And it's crazy. When I moved in with my father at 17, I moved back into the ghetto. And we're living really bad. We're living in a space like this, 400 square feet. But I felt safer.
You had your father.
Yes, that's it.
I had zero fear about, and we're in the hood.
You just explained it all right there. Like when your dad's around, there's no fear. It's the presence of the masculine presence, and you're describing total chaos for everyone involved. What you're describing is bringing it into order. And this is really how I look at Christ. Like the surrender to Christ brings order to my life every single time, right? When I come to the cross, my life inevitably will be chaotic without Christ, right? And then Christ is my father, right? So we have that father figure. And I think, what we're talking about here is order versus chaos. And, if a child doesn't feel safe and there's competition, and you definitely don't feel safe with just your mother, the presence of the father being absent is detrimental.
But you don't feel right with just your dad either. I mean, there's a whole side of it.
Yes, I agree.
Man, we've all felt at some point. There are things you go to mommy for and things you go to daddy for.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to manipulate a situation, or you really want, well, I'm not going to ask dad. I need to ask mom. She's got the empathy going, and if I give her my look, she might just give it to me. And when you need some more discipline, you go to dad.
Yeah.
And you have to have both.
I agree.
But trying to act like, because look, as relates to Elon, you've only ever seen him with one kid, little X. That's it. Where are these other 12? Like, what's happening with them? And we've all heard, and come to Roll Hall, you'll hear it this year, E.W. Jackson, the story about his dad, where he was jumping from orphanage to orphanage, and people just wouldn't keep him there and take care of him. Finally got to one, and he was still a screw up until his daddy came on the street corner and said, "Get in, you're coming to live with me," and he straightened up like that. It was only his dad, his biological father, that could do that for him.
Yeah.
That's what it takes, and when you're not around, money doesn't help.
It makes me wonder about his father and his family dynamics growing up. I mean, was his father around? I don't know much about his family.
Yeah, he was
dynamics.
around.
I mean, so typically we take after our father, we marry our mother, or vice versa. That's sort of how it goes, because they're our core mentors. So I wonder how he got on this path. I mean, it's just an interesting...
I remember my wise point that I was about to make.
Yeah.
And this is why he's just... Because, again, he's allegedly this really smart, brilliant person. And big, dumb Jason Whitlock can sit there and say, hey, Joy Taylor in that situation, I just need to run away from that because that's problems. He can't... This woman's on social media talking about she wants rocket babies and showing some real unstable behavior. And he went ahead and had a baby with her anyway.
Who taught you that?
Huh? Yeah, my father. But I got it. I'm just saying, this guy's supposed to be smart. He can't see. This is the most obvious trouble in the world.
Hold on, Jason.
That half the population's falling for.
Trouble in what way? Just walk through the trouble.
Look at the headaches he's got right now. She's suing him.
What's the headache?
He doesn't care about that. He's got lawsuits going on in court all the time.
Break it down. What's the headache? She sues him for $8 million. What is the headache to a man worth $300 billion?
The headache is for me. And
we talking about Elon.
I know I got it, but my mindset would be, this crazy person's raising my child.
Okay.
That's a problem for me. I couldn't sleep.
I got you.
My child is under the guidance, and the person responsible for them is crazy and perhaps plotted on me. Perhaps she's some sort of Mossad agent that they're talking about. That's who I got a baby with, and I got to live with that for the rest of my life.
Did that slow him down to sleep with this crazy lady?
Well, hold on. Even before that, how about the 12 others? Didn't stop him 12 times before that. We're going to stop him this time?
And it's not just a crazy lady. Who is she going to bring into her life? What strange man is she going to bring into her life to raise his kid?
Yeah, and Elon's like, whatever, I'll just have another one.
Yes.
I mean that.
I
That's
know
what
you
he
do.
did. All right, well.
You're right.
You got to be tough, kid. Figure it out.
I get the wisdom, Jason. You know I do. I get the wisdom. We obviously see that this is not a wise decision, but if you've minimized having children as just a biological process, if you've minimized being there for your child as being able to provide for them financially, then you will get more Elon-minded, Nick Cannon-minded folk as it relates to bringing kids into the world, neither of which are taking after what God has said in his word. David talks about this in the Psalms, how the real success is living according to the way of God. And when you live according to the way of God, you will benefit from your work. Your wife will provide a wonderful home, and your children will be around your table like olive branches. Like, that is wealth. But we've stepped so far away from that to where now when you say headache, that might be the term. It may just be a headache, and he takes the Tylenol and goes on to the next woman.
The other part of this, and we should just know, it's who Elon is. It's the life he's chosen. For somebody who has this many kids, or any kids, I got 2 with another one on the way. To be taking on this many projects, to me, even if he was married with kids, he wouldn't be home for 1 second. The guy's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, he's got Twitter, he's got Doge now, he's got the Boring Company. I mean, he's on and on and on. Every new project he takes on. I have this problem, personally. Every time I take on something new, the first thing that goes is time with my family. Every phone call I pick up at night, the first thing that goes is time with my wife and kids at the dinner table. And so you just see where his values lie. It's all over his life. It's not just having the kids. It's even the time he spends. It's like, hey, when do we see little X? Because this is a guy who stays up, a lot of the night. He talks about how playing video. He's one of the highest ranked video games players in the world. I mean, he's a very strange, interesting cat. When's he spending time with these kids?
Cats in the cradle.
I mean,
well, and that's where my suspicion or skepticism comes from. Like, these guys, hey, they want to save the world. They want to save free speech. They want to fix the government. They want to do this. They don't want to do any of the sacrifices necessary to legitimately solve any problems. And so if the guy wanted to take on all, particularly this Doge stuff and all this other stuff, really effectively, he'd get married, he'd have a wife, and he'd order his life so that he could actually function at a.
I disagree.
Well, but you just think of how much America has changed. Remember Gary Hart, that politician who was caught with a woman? I mean, like, if this was early 80s, 70s, 60s, these people would not be in the public eye. They'd be scorned. That's how much this has changed.
Go ahead, TJ. But life is just a series of sacrifices, man, choices.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't seem to be making any. And that makes me skeptical of...
To be the most effective at a single job, you do what Paul did. And you wouldn't have... I'm telling you, I'm way less of an efficient member of the Fearless Army having a family and kids. Now, it makes me good when I'm here, but I have way less time to be here. Paul was the greatest disciple to ever live, and he didn't spend time with
you. But there's a wisdom that comes along with managing a family that benefits. Again,
he's going to argue, though, he wouldn't be Elon Musk if he did that. If he didn't take 3 companies to $1 billion valuation and works 60 to 90 hours a week, he wouldn't be Elon Musk. He would be a successful father with kids in the neighborhood playing ball with them. We wouldn't have heard of Elon Musk.
This is the argument Colin Cowherd always makes. He's like, oh, everybody wants a balanced life. I don't want a balanced life. I want a quarterback that only thinks about football. I don't really care about your family life or how balanced you are. I want you to score as many touchdowns as humanly possible. And I do think when you get singularly focused, you may have more wisdom, but he's talking, as it relates to Doge and things, he's making computer algorithms to cut finances. He's not. It's not life wisdom. His life is far worse, in my view, that he's not married and doesn't have kids. But if you want to be as efficiently effective as possible at one thing, you just do that one thing.
I don't know, man. Patrick Mahomes has had a lot of success since getting married, and so Tom Brady, whether the marriage was any good or not, he had a lot of success while married.
How are you defining success in those 2 stories?
Well, they played football at a high level when they peace at home. The less time you spend out chasing tail, the more time you have to devote to playing football and your craft.
Tom's probably an example on our side here. Tom neglected his family so much that they left him to be the best ever.
That's why I was asking you to define success in that dynamic. If winning Super Bowls and making a whole lot of money is success in the eyes of God, then, okay, Patrick Mahomes is successful since marriage. I would argue that being married and being a good husband and father, provider, and spiritual leader for your family, that's success. It may not get you anything on the football field. You may not have any football career. But, man, your family is safe and your children know the Lord, man, you can die knowing, wow, I'm successful. Or you can die saying, at least all my kids were billionaires in a world that caters to them.
Hope you bring it with you.
All right, gentlemen, great stuff. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. And we're done.
Yes.